Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. The president is pushing forward with an ambitious agenda. He signed an executive order Tuesday making good on a campaign promise to roll back President Obama's energy regulations. And he's still looking to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. This comes even as the Republican congressman leading the investigation into Russian election meddling faces new turmoil, with leaders on both sides voicing concerns.
With today's executive action, I am taking historic steps to lift the restrictions on American energy, to reverse government intrusion, and to cancel job-killing regulations.
And with the stroke of a pen, President Donald Trump signed a sweeping executive order to roll back most of President Obama's climate change legacy. The order calls for a review of the Clean Power Plan, which restricts greenhouse gas emissions at coal-fired power plants, and strikes rules mandating climate change be considered in federal policy making. It does not address the 2015 Paris climate change deal to cap greenhouse gas emissions. During the campaign last year, Trump accused President Obama of waging a war on coal. The White House says the measure will produce new coal mining jobs, but the president's critics question just how many. And environmental groups are promising to fight the president's actions in court. Still, the Trump administration is pushing forward with the president's ambitious agenda.
If you guys give me a reason to recuse myself, I might consider it.
Even in the face of ongoing pressure and questions about ties between President Donald Trump's associates and Russia, something the White House denies.
There is no connection. You've got Russia. If the president puts Russian salad dressing on his salad tonight, somehow that's a Russian connection.
And despite Republicans' failure to pass their health care bill last week, the president remains hopeful he will get a health care bill through Congress. But after that failure, as House Speaker Paul Ryan put it,
Obamacare is the law of the land. It's going to remain the law of the land until it's replaced.
But Ryan says Republicans have not given up on repealing and replacing Obamacare. Ryan told reporters that the various Republican factions who split over the bill last week are talking with each other, with Ryan saying, "We are all going to work together and listen together until we get this right. It's just too important." Congress has sent President Donald Trump legislation that could end online privacy. The Senate and House voted to repeal an FCC ruling that protects internet privacy and data. If signed by the president, internet providers will be able to monitor customers' online behavior and sell that information to marketers, financial firms, and other companies, all without the customer's permission. The two pro-life activists who exposed Planned Parenthood's practice of selling baby body parts are now being charged with 15 felonies in the state of California for violating the privacy of healthcare providers. Journalists David Daleiden and Sandra Merritt face a felony count for each person they secretly recorded and an additional felony charge for criminal conspiracy. The charges come 8 months after similar charges were dropped in Texas, but the California judge says the pair violated privacy laws. For 10 years now, an abortion group called 40 Days for Life has been targeting abortion clinics in some 40 nations. It hits them with a nearly 6-week salvo of praying, protesting, and presence outside their doors. As Paul Strand reports, they are making a difference.
It has prominent pro-lifers, like Family Research Council's Irina Grossu, excited about all the good it and similar efforts have done.
Since they started this campaign, they're able to save over 12,000 babies.
In fact, the number now stands at 12,919 lives saved, according to 40 Days for Life staff. Grossu met with CBN News at a huge new abortion clinic in the nation's capital. Sometimes outside such clinics, the presence of those who want to save the babies has changed the hearts of the workers aborting them inside.
143 abortion workers have converted and have decided to come out of the abortion business.
And many of their workplaces have been run out of business.
So far, 83 abortion centers have closed as a result of 40 Days for Life.
It and similar campaigns often concentrate on Planned Parenthood since it's America's abortion giant, doing more than a third of them. But now, nearly a third of its locations have closed.
They used to have 938 abortion facilities, and now they're down to under 625. When people get involved, we're saving lives, we're making a statement, because we want people to stand here and be the conscience, the public conscience, for what's going on in there.
This mega center's location is particularly troublesome to pro-lifers.
Is not only across the street, but next to a charter school. And so these children, in one building, children are being taught, in another building, children are being killed.
On the governing side, Republicans are attempting to defund Planned Parenthood, which gets $500 million in taxpayer dollars every year, and a number of state legislatures are in the fight.
We have seen a tsunami of pro-life laws passed, especially in the last 5 years. 338 laws have passed, and this accounts for 30% of all pro-life laws that have passed since Roe v. Wade.
Thinking about nearly 60 million abortions here in America, about 1 billion worldwide, can certainly be disheartening and depressing. But then there are those points of good news in the fight against abortion, like the hundreds of clinics that have closed, the hundreds of anti-abortion bills that have been passed, and those more than 12,000 unborn babies that have been saved during these 40 Days for Life campaigns. Each one of them a living light in our world. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from outside Planned Parenthood in Washington.
An Oregon judge made history recently after granting a person in Portland the freedom to become genderless. The 27-year-old is supposedly the first legally genderless person in the United States. The man told NBC News. Even gender-neutral pronouns don't feel as if they fit me. I feel no identity or closeness with any pronouns I've come across. What describes me is my name. No U.S. court has ever granted a legally genderless status before now. 3 storm chasers were killed after their vehicles collided at an intersection Tuesday during a storm chase in Texas. The Weather Channel identifies the 2 men as contractors for the network and stars of a new reality show called Storm Wranglers.
One of the things I really like about doing this is we're able to stream it live. You know, people can sit at home where it's safe, and we're out there getting the shot for them.
The Department of Public Safety says one of the vehicles ran a stop sign at the intersection, which caused the crash. Tornadoes had already been reported in the area near the time of the crash. All 3 drivers were reported dead at the scene. Still ahead, the epic story of battling the world's most deadly virus comes to the big screen. We'll give you a first look at the film Facing Darkness. In the summer of 2014, a deadly outbreak of the Ebola virus spread through West Africa, killing thousands. A handful of American doctors and nurses from Samaritan's Purse fought the outbreak for weeks, and then 2 of them also contracted Ebola. Now Samaritan's Purse is releasing a powerful documentary about the epidemic. Take a look.
This was an unfolding catastrophe.
The numbers of new cases and deaths are still rising.
It's a disease that killed nearly 30,000 people over the course of 2 years. Now, a gripping new documentary tells the miraculous story of the American missionaries who fought the Ebola outbreak in Liberia and contracted the illness.
I remember just getting on the floor and praying, oh God, it's not too much for you to save his life. Will you save it?
It's certainly clear in the film this was a difficult time for your ministry. Why share this story on film?
So many people that were involved in fighting Ebola there in Liberia and Guinea and Sierra Leone were young people. And I want the world to see what God did and how he used the lives of young people to fight the world's most deadly virus. My phone rang, and Ken Isaacs said one of our doctors, Kent Brantley, has Ebola.
Through interviews with the team on the ground, Facing Darkness shows the raw, emotional journey of American medical workers fighting a deadly epidemic and the miracle it took to save their lives.
This is a story how God saved Dr. Brantley. But yet I want another generation to see it, and I want young people to see it, because God can use their lives. And I want them to know God needs them and wants to use them if they're willing to trust him.
To be honest, not a day goes by that I don't think about Liberia and about our experience.
Dr. Kent Brantley says while it's a bit uncomfortable seeing himself on the big screen, this allows him to remember God's faithfulness.
I think there's a reason that God told the people of Israel, tell your children we were slaves in Egypt. I think there's something really important about remembering the hard times we've been through and remembering what God has done in our lives to help inform the way we move forward.
My greatest fear is that I would have to raise my kids alone.
Dr. Brantley and his wife Amber had already been serving in Liberia for a year when the Ebola epidemic hit. His diagnosis came just days after Amber left on a short trip with their children back home to the States.
My prayers in those days were very simple. My prayers are, God, help me to be faithful. I really think my prayer for my children in that moment when I didn't think I was going to live, my prayer was that I would be faithful, that they would have a legacy of a father who was faithful, even in his death.
Altogether, the family member that I lose, 17.
Filmmakers say the process of weaving all the stories together proved challenging.
The story of Facing Darkness is definitely an epic one. There are so many stories and so many threads. And it was really, really hard to figure out how to whittle it down. Our editor was able to find some of the most powerful sound bites and the most powerful portions of people's stories and put them together. And so we were, that's one of the ways we were able to get through that.
David looked at me and he said, "You too have Ebola."
Nurse Nancy Wright-Bowles served alongside Dr. Brantley in Liberia, and she also contracted Ebola. She hopes the film will convey to audiences a message of the importance of unity.
It's not about 2 or 3 or however many expats are in the movie. It's not about us. It's about a partnership and a working together with the people that you live with. It's living within community.
People shared a lot of candid things with us. When we interviewed them and had them share for Facing Darkness. But yet, those are things that sometimes people, I shouldn't have said that. Why did I say that? But yet, that's what makes us human, and we can all relate to that. And we all, like I said earlier, we can all learn from that.
The production team hopes the film will challenge audiences.
I hope people will leave the theater asking themselves, would I be that brave? What would I do?
You don't have to look far in the news today to find places where we are faced with fear. And I think something that this film can help us do is to look at those circumstances in our lives in the world today through a different lens and say, what does it look like if we choose not to respond out of the fear we feel, but instead we have the courage to move forward in compassion.
If we're willing to put our faith and trust in God's Son, Jesus Christ, if He's in our boat, we don't have to worry about that boat sinking. He'll take us through that storm, and He did with Dr. Brantley. And I want the world to see what God did. At the same time, I'm hoping God will use this to bring up an army of young people who will say, "Here I am, send me."
Ephraim Graham, CBN News.
Facing Darkness will be in theaters around the country for 2 nights only, March 30th and April 10th. For theater and ticket information, simply visit our website. It's cbnnews.com. Up next, we are sitting down with Dr. Antonio Webb in Studio 5. He shares his amazing journey and how he overcame the odds. Dr. Antonio Webb is a physician who spent time fighting Ebola in West Africa, but that may have not been his biggest battle. The young surgeon shares his journey in the book, Overcoming the Odds. I sat down with him for this week's Studio 5 interview.
Liberia is where Georgetown University student Antonio Webb began his career in medicine, and he arrived at an unforgettable time.
We got to the hospital our first day in country, and I saw people running around kind of frantic-y and kind of worried and concerned. Found out that there was an Ebola outbreak. The people of Liberia, they really need our help. The hospital didn't have a lot of supplies that I needed. That's the first place that I actually lost a patient, was in Liberia, as a new doctor. That was very heartbreaking.
Heartbreak was a bit too familiar for the young doctor. It came early and often as a child, growing up in Shreveport, Louisiana.
A lot of my friends definitely went to prison. Most of them were killed or are currently in jail to this day.
Were there things you should have gone to jail for?
Absolutely, yeah.
Photos paint a picture of childhood. Antonio as a baby, snapshots with grandma and his two brothers. Not many with his mom and sister.
I would say since I was younger, she's been in and out of the hospital maybe 30, 40 times, in and out of jail maybe 10, 15, 20 times. So never knew why. I always just knew that something was a little bit off and something was wrong, but I never knew why.
When did you figure out what was wrong?
4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Yeah.
And what's wrong?
My mom and my sister have schizophrenia. Not a lot of people know this and don't talk about it a lot because I actually just found out about it when I was in medical school, learning about different psychiatric drugs. She called one day and said she was taking her medicine. So I said, what medications are you taking? And she told me the name of the medication, and it just hit me. I just remembered everything from the years of her trying to commit suicide and on drugs and in and out of the hospital. Kind of put those two together, and that's when I found out.
Mom's trouble was Antonio's drive to work harder, juggling high school and a job.
I think I was actually 15, and I kind of changed the date on these certificates so I can start working. I wanted to work that bad, and they actually gave me the job.
Staying busy didn't keep trouble away from the Webb boys. Antonio's youngest brother, Jonathan, was a computer whiz.
Actually, the FBI raided our house because of a computer operation that he was running.
What was he doing?
Yeah.
At what age is he?
I think he was 14 or 15.
14 and the FBI is after?
Yeah, they shut down the whole street and raided our house.
What are you doing at 14 with a computer that would spark?
After that ordeal, he started hanging around the wrong crowd, and he ended up going to jail for armed robbery at 16 years old. They gave him juvenile life for armed robbery.
And you go to jail to visit him?
Yeah.
You're saying that was one of the toughest things you had to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just seeing him in prison, walking up in an orange jumpsuit and chains, shackles on his feet and also his hands. But one thing I would never forget is his big smile that he had. So he never stopped smiling. So he came up to the counter and he said he wanted to sing a song that he's been writing songs and writing raps, like a Christian song. And the song was called Love. Basically, he started singing and basically tears ran down my eyes. I couldn't hold it in. Just seeing him behind the wall, I couldn't hug him, couldn't touch him.
Jonathan died in 2008 as Antonio followed in the footsteps of his older brother, Chris, and his father in the military.
My dad is my role model. Look up to him a lot. He had a troubled childhood himself, selling drugs and using drugs. He went to prison when he was younger for lots of different crimes that he committed.
Dad is now a minister and Antonio's biggest supporter. It's a generational story of overcoming the odds Dr. Webb shares in his book.
I knew I wanted change. That's probably the most important thing for me was I didn't want to be like my family members, my friends. I wanted to be different. That's one thing about me. I always want to be different. So that's why I stuck to the books, and it's paid off now.
You encourage people to be different in your book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you have to be different in this society, even though people may laugh at you, may call you names. Jesus was different. So I encourage everyone to be different.
Indeed, Jesus was different. Dr. Antonio Webb has plans to go back to Liberia to help in healthcare as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back. It is time for your Wednesday word, and today's word is love. Consider this: God's love for you is deeper than any ocean, taller than the highest mountain, and more vast than any vision your eyes could behold. Rest in that reality for a moment. It should overwhelm you. It should also propel you to get up, walk in that love, and extend it even to that person you find most annoying, and do it without expecting anything in return. You already have the love of God for yourself. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Certainly hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make this a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you right back here come tomorrow.